Let's ask our chatbot, what is the salary of comedian parrot? That's incredible. Did you see that? We just generated a very cool image of the parrot based on our user input. Awesome. Parrot is probably singing a song. If you look closely, the salary is shown as 50,000. This value comes directly from our own dataset.
Hi there! Using the power of AI, we are building realistic 3D images of animals with jobs and salaries. Let's bring those ideas into life by creating a chatbot in Python. My fellow assistant will guide you through all the process.
Thank you, Ali. In this tutorial, we are going to create a multimodal assistant using GPT-4o-Mini and DALL-E 3. When asked about animal salaries, it will respond with the salary stored in our data and generate an image based on the animal's job title. Before diving into the code, let's have some more fun. Let's add a therapist elephant with a 60,000 salary to our dataset, and then ask our chatbot a question about it. How much salary does a therapist elephant take? Wow! A therapist elephant pulls in around 60K. This salary is the same we just provided in our data. What is the earning of a librarian crocodile? Awesome. This is so much fun. Let's ask one last question before we dive into the details of creating this chatbot. How much an eagle working as HR earns? Wow, this is the best image I got. Are you ready to begin? Let's start coding. First, download and install Python. For the command line, you can use any terminal. I'm using git bash on my Windows computer. Now go to the folder where you want to write your code. Next, install JupyterLab by running pip install JupyterLab. Now run JupyterLab command. This will open a web UI where you can write and execute Python code cell by cell. You can also write Markdown inside the cells to display headings and paragraphs. Let's define our animal salaries by creating a Python dictionary. The key will contain the job title and animal name, separated by a space, and the value will be the salary. Next, create a function called getAnimalSalary, which retrieves the salary by taking the job title and animal name as arguments. When we call this function with CEO as the first argument and lion as the second, it should print 200K. Wonderful. Now, we're going to use the OpenAI platform to access our models. Under your OpenAI profile, go to API Keys, create a new key, and copy it. Save this key in a variable. Save our first model name into variable. Install OpenAI Python library by running pip. Install OpenAI command. Import OpenAI. Then create an OpenAI object and pass your API key variable to it. The OpenAI.chat.completions.create method is used to send a chat-style prompt to the model. We pass a messages variable into it to send user input. It contains a role user, showing that it is user input, and a content field containing our message. Let's run the create method on our input, which is salary of a CEO lion. Congrats! We got a response from our GPT model. Let's print the message content. Okay, the content is quite big. Now let's instruct our model to reply in a single sentence, and in a humorous way by imagining animals with jobs. We'll create a system message variable with our instructions. Append it to the messages list with a role set to system. Let's rerun the create method to see the new output. Isn't this wonderful? We got the response exactly how we wanted. The CEO lion earns a roaring salary. Haha. Next, we're going to put this entire functionality into a chat user interface. To do this, we need to create a chat function. This function will take two arguments, message and history. Copy the messages variable. Append the history variable. Remove hard-coded user input and replace that with message variable. Copy the response. Return message content. Now, run the pip command to install the Gradio Python library, which makes it super easy to create web-based user interfaces. Import Gradio. Now, run the chat interface by passing in the chat function you just created. Great, you should now see a chat interface in your browser. Hi there. Hey there. Did you hear about the squirrel who's a motivational speaker? Now, let's ask about the salary of an animal. But it doesn't respond with the salary. That's because we're not yet using our getAnimalSalary function. To call our function, we will use a feature in the OpenAI Python library called toolCalls. We'll start by creating a variable called tools. Inside it, we'll use a dictionary named salary function, which contains the configuration for the animal salary function we created at the start. Next, pass the tools variable into the create method of the OpenAI create method. Let's take a closer look at what the salary function dictionary will contain. First, the name of the function. Second, a description of what the function does. Then, under parameters, we'll define two fields, job title and animal name. Now let's print the response and run the chat interface again. Try asking for the salary of an animal. For example, CEO lion salary. It will likely result in an error, and I'll show you why. And here's the error. The error is because there is no message content field inside the chat completion response, but we see another field, finish reason, which is equal to tool calls. So we need to add an if condition inside our chat function to handle this special case. If the finish reason is tool calls, we'll call our external function to retrieve the salary for the animal. Let's define a few variables. Tool call message, which holds the tool call data from the earlier response. Then we'll append this message to the messages array. Finally, we'll call the create method again with this updated messages array. Now let's get the salary by creating handle tool call function. Handle tool call function will take tool call message as argument. If you look at the previous response again, the arguments field contains a JSON object with two keys, job_title and animal. We will extract this JSON and get the animal's salary by calling our getAnimalSalary function. If you notice one more thing, job title, which is CEO, is returning as uppercase, so we will modify our function to return it to lowercase. Load this JSON object into arguments variable. Get job title. Get animal name. Now we can get the salary from our getAnimalSalary function. The response returns a roll of tool, indicating it is a response from the external function. The content is a JSON object containing three fields, job title, animal, and salary. Add tool call ID field in the response. Return the response, animal, and job title in order to get this data inside the chat function. Then we'll append the response to the messages array. We are almost there. Let's run the chatbot and ask CEO Lion salary. Wow, the CEO Lion roars in at a juicy 200K. We finally got the salary from our provided data. Finally, we are there to enter the fun part. Generation of cool images. I am super duper excited, are you too? We'll create a function with two parameters, job title and animal. We'll call the OpenAI images.generate method and pass model DALL-E 3. The most important part here is the prompt, which tells the model how we want the image to look. So we instruct our model to show the animal doing job in a funny way. It should be properly dressed as per job requirement. Make a realistic 3D image. Image size needs to be 1024 pixels by 1024 pixels. Number of images must be 1. The response format should be base 64 encoded. Let's save this into variable image underscore response. We will extract this base 64 image from this response. Import base 64 library. Base 64 decode should decode the image and save into image data variable. Let's import few more libraries for image display. First is the bytes IO, which is like a file saved inside computer's memory. Next, the image class is used to create and save images. And then import display to display the image in browser. Let's return the image. Wait is over now. We are going to execute create image of animal function with two arguments, firefighter and dog. Wow, do you see that? We just created our first image and it is so awesome. The final part is to generate the image inside chat interface. To do this, we need to modify our chat function. Initialize an image variable. Call the create image of animal function and store its result inside the image variable. This will be used to generate the image. Remove user messages so that we only take the reply from GPT-4o-Mini and pass it to DALL-E 3. This can be achieved by appending Role Assistant inside the history of the messages. Return both the history and the image, so that with each new user submission, the complete conversation history is included. Finally, we will create chat interface with Gradio again to show both models' response. Gradio block is like the canvas, where we can add different elements. Next, create a row inside it to show chatbot. Let's launch it to see how it is showing inside browser's new tab. Add a left column and add a text box for users' input. Add right column to show image output. Do entry function contains message and the history. This will be called whenever user input is submitted. Once the user's input is submitted, our chat function is called to generate the text response and image using the models, which are then displayed in the browser. Let's see the final demo. Hi there. Hello. Are you ready for a wild ride through the animal kingdom of professions? What is the salary of a lion working as a CEO? Wow, we got a graceful lion. Look closely. The salary is showing as 200K. That is exactly what was saved in our data. Salary of a monkey as a worker. Amazing! It's so cute. I really like the picture. Last one. Salary of a shark working as a babysitter. Oh, that was so much fun. Thank you for staying with me for so long. Would you like to hit that subscribe button now? I bet the answer is yes. Thanks. See you soon in the next video. Bye-bye.